Hi there, I'm Patrick. I'm going to help you with a few construction math items. Okay, when they're asking you what is the formula would be area equals letters and operations like plus, minus, divided by, multiplication. When you state the area in numbers, maybe you say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would like you to put a comma in to denote thousands and units. So if it's feet, it would look like that. If it's inches, it would look like that. If it's square feet, square inches, you could also do inches squared with a little raised for square inches. If you're doing feet squared, it could be like this. If it's cubic feet, it could look like this. For cubic inches, or cubic yards. So this is how I want your answers to look. If it's money, I want for there to be a dollar sign out front. Your answer isn't complete if you just have numbers in there. I would also like the labels that indicate the units. When you're calculating concrete, estimate the amount of concrete needed to pour the floor. The slab is 8 inches thick. Make sure the units are in cubic yards when you're done. A slab we're going to pour. And let's say it's 20 feet long. Just to make it easy, let's say it's 10 feet wide. And here's the feet. And how thick are we going to make it? Let's say we make it 6 inches thick. So now we have feet and inches. And then we want our answer in yards cubed. So there's basically 3 ways you could do this. You could convert all of these things into yards at the beginning. Inches can be converted to yards, feet can be converted to yards. And then when you're done, everything will be in yards. Then you don't have to do any converting in the end. That's the first way. Second way is you could convert everything into feet, and then you could calculate the cubic feet. And then when you get the cubic feet, there would be you'd have to figure out how many cubic feet go into a cubic yard, and then you'd have to divide. Or the hardest way would be to convert everything into inches, find out how many cubic inches are in your slab, and then at the end, convert cubic inches to cubic yards. So which way would you like to do it? Let's do the way most students do is convert. The way most students do it is wrong. They multiply 20 times 10 times 6, but you can't multiply inches times feet. That's not a proper way to do math. You're going to multiply 2 things together, they need to be in the same units. So you can change 6 inches to 6/12 because there's 12 inches in a foot and there's 6 of the inches. So it's 6/12 of a foot equals 1/2. I like to do this in fractions rather than decimals because fractions are exact and decimals, if you round them, then there's rounding error. Okay, so now instead of 6 inches, this is 1/2 of a foot. So now this is in feet, this is in feet, and this is in feet. And if you want to calculate the cubic feet, you go 20 times 10 times 1/2 because volume equals length times width times height. So 20 times 1/2 is 10. So 10 times 10 is 100. So it's going to be 100 feet cubed. And the reason the feet is cubed is because the reason it's a 100 is because 20 times 1/2 times 10 is 100. And the reason it's feet cubed is because feet times feet times feet is feet cubed. So now we know that this slab is 100 cubic feet, but we want our answer in cubic yards. So how many cubic feet go into a cubic yard? A yard is 3 feet wide, 3 feet deep or long or whatever you want to call that, and 3 feet high or deep. So if you make this cube out, a cubic yard, this is 1 cubic yard, 1 cubic yard or 1 yard cubed, both of these things say the same thing, is 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. Now let's just, for fun, let's just connect all of these, and we're sort of making a Rubik's Cube. Now you tell me how many 1 foot cubes are in this 3 foot cube. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that accounts for this whole row. And then there's 9 in the top layer, there's 9 more in the second layer, and there's 9 more in the bottom layer. So there's 27 cubic feet equals 1 cubic yard. If you had started with your slab and made inches, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you'd have to make all of these cubes. And you'd have to count all those cubes to convert how many cubic inches. So this would be just 144 square inches, and then you're cubing it again. So that's a huge number, and I don't even want to go there. You can figure it out if that's the way you want to go, by converting by doing all of your measurements first in inches. So you could convert the inches, since it's 8 inches thick, you can convert that into feet using the same method I just showed you. And you could find how many cubic feet is the slab, and then you could convert the cubic feet into yards. So that's the way I just showed you. The next way would be to convert everything to yards from the beginning. Here's a simple version. Notice I'm using 6 inches, not 8 inches. And I'm using 20 feet, not the 63, and I'm using 10 feet, not the whatever the dimension was. What if I converted all of these things into yards? So 20 feet is how many yards? Equals how many yards? Well, there's 3 feet in a yard. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So this many would be a yard. Then this would be the second yard, the third yard, the fourth yard, the fifth yard, the sixth yard, and then there's 2 more. So if there's 3 feet in a yard, what's 20 divided by 3? 3 goes in, 6 is 18, and then 2 left over. So it's 6 and 2 thirds. 20 thirds, haha. You didn't even have to do a division to find that out. So this is 20 thirds of a yard. This is 10 thirds of a yard. And 6 inches is half a foot. So if how many half a feet in a yard? Well, if there's 3 feet in a yard, this is 1 foot, 1 foot, and 1 foot to make a yard. How many half feet would be in a yard? Well, here's a half a foot. Here's the second half a foot. Here's the third half a foot, fourth half a foot, fifth, sixth. So there's 6 half feet in a yard. So 6 inches would be a half a foot. It'd be 1/6 of a yard. So 1 foot equals, or 3 feet equals 1 yard. So 1 foot equals 1/3 of a yard. And a half a foot equals 1/6 of a yard. So now we have our 3 dimensions, 1/6 of a yard high or deep, 10/3 of a yard wide, and 20/3 of a yard long. If you multiply these 3 things together, you'll get how many cubic yards it is. And then you won't have to do any converting. You're already in cubic yards. So I've given you 2 ways to calculate your concrete because they need the answer to be in yards. And so you can do your calculations in cubic inches. You could do your calculations in cubic feet, or you could do your change everything into yards first, and then you wouldn't need to change anything. It'd already be in cubic yards. Do it in cubic feet, you have to multiply by 27. If you do it in cubic inches, you have to multiply by a huge number, which I don't even know. If you do it in cubic yards, you don't have to multiply it by anything at the end. So down here is where you put your answer. And again, I would like your answer to be a number. Say it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want the answer to be in cubic yards. I want you to put the units, and the units need to be cubic yards because it says right here, concrete is always ordered in cubic yards. When you call up the concrete company and you say you want this many cubic feet or this many cubic inches, they will laugh at you. I don't want them to laugh at you. By the way, a concrete truck holds 9 cubic yards. So you can get a sense of like, oh, okay, how many concrete trucks do I think you need? So if you get an answer like 124,567 cubic yards, that is so many concrete trucks that it would almost extend end to end a mile. I mean, if you're building a dam, you might need that many cubic yards of concrete, that many concrete trucks. But if you're just pouring a slab, that's a really high number of cubic yards. So just for estimating purposes, keep in mind that a concrete truck holds 9 yards.